Hello team! Continuing on with our seminars, this one is addressing the importance of gut health. So in this one we're going to be learning about various different points around gut health and what makes it so important and how it ties into our overall health and well-being as well as how it operates. The first point I want to talk about is around your hunger and cravings and how that relates to your gut, or more specifically, your gut microbiome. Now, to give context for this, I'll first explain that the largest collection of neurons, your thinking cells, are in your head. The second largest collection is around your gut, and this is what we call the gut brain. Now, there is a highway of neurons that connect the two largest brains in the body, but 90% of communication is from the gut to the brain. So 90% of the signaling from the two largest brains in the body is the gut brain telling the head brain what to do. And this relates to the bacteria in your gut because they can hijack, in a way, this communication system to serve themselves better and what they crave. So as a blanket statement, you have good and bad bacteria, and they crave different things. The good bacteria generally crave fiber and antioxidants. The bad bacteria generally crave sugars. The good ones generally produce things for you that make you a better, healthier version of yourself. The bad ones generally don't produce that at all, or even sometimes produce things that are harmful to your health. So, if you have a large amount of good bacteria in your gut that crave fiber and antioxidants, they are going to manipulate this wiring to tell your brain to eat foods that contain those things. You are going to crave those foods, generally healthier plant-based foods. If you have a lot of bad bacteria and they crave sugar, then you guessed it, you're going to crave a lot more sugar because all it is your bad bacteria crying out for food. They are trying to manipulate you into eating the foods that they want. So if you have what we call a dysbiosis in the gut, where you have a relatively large amount of bad or parasitic bacteria and fungus living in the gut compared to the good bacteria, the majority of your food cravings are going to be for more unhealthy foods, just in general. If you have a very large amount of good bacteria, then you are going to crave far less, if at all, of the unhealthy foods and be far more inclined to be drawn to the healthier foods that you can get. It's also important to note that your gut health or your gut microbiome is not only influenced by what goes into it, so not just by what you eat. It is also influenced by all the external factors in your environment. Because just like you are affected by your environment, the weather, the pollution levels, what things you encounter throughout each day or night, your bacteria are influenced in the same way by what happens to you. Because for your gut microbiome, you are the environment. So anything that happens to you will indirectly happen to them. This is why the amount of sunshine you get each day, what chemicals are in the shampoos or conditioners or soaps or products that you're putting on your skin, or how much exercise you're getting, how much sleep you're getting, all of these external factors will influence different bacteria in your gut to either cause them to thrive or to struggle. So if you have a healthy lifestyle overall, even we're taking away completely the food aspect and what's going into your digestive system, that will have a very powerful effect on the types of bacteria that are allowed to grow in your gut. And generally, the beneficial bacteria that live inside of you, they will do better when you are in a healthier state, or that is to say, you have a healthier overall lifestyle, because the better they do, the better they can produce for you the small compounds that make you a healthier and better version of yourself. Another very powerful influence for the health of your gut is around what we call probiotic and prebiotics. So I'll explain what both of these are. Probiotics, and this is the one that you've likely heard of many, many times. Probiotics is when you are adding bacteria. So actual bacteria are being put into your gut microbiome. Prebiotics are the food for bacteria. So pro means addition and biotic is biota or bacteria. So it's the addition of bacteria. Pre means before. So pre-bacteria, this is the food that comes before them. So ideally you have both, because if you have probiotics and no prebiotics, the bacteria have no food to grow. If you have prebiotics but no probiotics, then you have the food for bacteria but no bacteria to eat it and grow and increase the health of your gut. So you need both. Now, fortunately, prebiotics you will find in just your healthy foods, just your natural healthy foods. They exist everywhere in a lot of the plants that you eat. Some foods that you have are going to be higher in specific prebiotics than others. But as a general rule, if you're eating your vegetables and fruits, then your bacteria are going to be well fed and doing just fine. Probiotics, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, because you can get probiotics in two different forms. So you can get probiotics in the form of a supplement, which is very common, or you can get them in the form of a probiotic food, which is generally a fermented or pickled food, naturally pickled. Now, both of these are fine for introducing more beneficial bacteria to your gut. If you are using probiotic supplements, then you kind of get what you pay for. A lot of the probiotic supplements, if they're very cheap, will already have in them the bacteria that you already have in your body. So if you want to have an actual improvement in the types of bacteria in your gut, because each type of the thousands that there are in your gut microbiome will produce something different for you. And if you already can have in your gut microbiome certain strains of bacteria, reintroducing those strains may bolster those populations of bacteria, but it's not going to add anything new and beneficial to your health. So it's worth just putting in a little bit more to get some of the high quality probiotics and introduce perhaps some of the beneficial bacteria that you don't already have in your gut. Now, another benefit of the probiotics is around digestion. So there's this concept of bioavailability, and this basically means how much nutrients you actually can absorb from each meal. Now, bacteria in your gut help to break down the food so you can absorb more. So when you are taking probiotics, one thing that happens is you are actually getting more bang for your buck, quite literally. Per dollar of food that you're eating, you are absorbing more nutrients from. Now, this is great for a dollar cost average perspective, just financially, but what's more important is that for each meal you have, you are going to be squeezing out more nutrients for your own health. So having the probiotics as a part of your lifestyle is a really great way to improve your health, even if not much else is changing. It just means that the overall amount of average nutrients you are getting from all the food that you're having is going to be more elevated. When it comes to mental health and then the hormonal functioning of the body, the point that I want to emphasize is around serotonin. Now, serotonin, you've probably heard of it. This is like your happy hormone. This is one of the hormones that makes you feel good. It has a lot of other roles in the body in terms of your general well-being, but when it's in the brain, it's more about telling you that you're happy, you're in a good mood. And what this means is that on a chemical level, if your serotonin is elevated, you feel better. Now, this pertains hugely to mental health because there are very significant links between the health of your gut and the health of your mind. So when your serotonin levels are higher, mostly it's going to be a cause of good gut health because 90% or so of your serotonin is produced in the gut, and your good bacteria have a huge hand to play in this. So if you take care of your gut and your serotonin levels are elevated, it means on a chemical level you are going to be less depressed, less blue, less down. You're going to feel more elevated, and genuinely enjoy your life more. And it's not because you're practicing positive thinking. It's not because you're focusing on your mental well-being and psychological techniques. And that's not anything against them. Those are all very powerful tools. But this just means on a chemical level that you have no choice in, you are going to feel better. And it just comes down to taking care of your gut health, and then the mental health will positively be impacted as an overflow effect from that. Something that is really interesting about just your gut health in general is in your microbiome contains about 10 times the total number of cells that you are made of. So you are made of approximately 8 to 10 trillion cells. There are about 100 trillion that live in your gut microbiome. So you are severely outnumbered. And with that gut microbiome comes the responsibility of your immune system. So about 70% of your immune cells are encircled around and intertwined with your gut cells. Now, what this means is that a healthy gut directly affects how strong your immune system is. And the reason that your body is anatomically shaped this way is because eating is the most intimate form of interaction that you have with the outside world, because you are putting the outside world, food, into your body. And that's where your defenses are arguably weaker, because there's no skin to protect and stop bacteria or harmful things from getting in. So that's why around your gut, the immune system has to be super strong. So if you have a very poor health in regards to your gut microbiome, then the cells around your gut, including the immune cells, are not going to be in as good health, and your immune system is going to be weaker. So taking care of your gut health means that your ability to combat cancer cells, which is very topical of what we're doing here at the Gut Cancer Foundation. So combating cancer cells, cleaning up any dead or lazy cells throughout the body, fixing any mutations in your DNA, and the classic getting rid of any of the things in your body like bacteria or viruses or fungi that are going to be harmful. So all of those things are going to get an uplift in activity when your gut health is in good stead. I want to finish up by going through the link between the diversity in your diet and the diversity in the bacteria in your gut microbiome. So you have thousands of different types of strains of beneficial bacteria that live in the gut, but each of them have preferred food sources, different fibers, different antioxidants that they prefer to eat and do well on. Now they can manage without, but they will all have their own preferences, just like any one of you. So if you have a high diversity in natural foods, and I emphasize that, natural foods in your diet, then you are going to have a higher diversity of different nutrients that can feed the high range of good bacteria that are in your gut. This is why the diversity in your diet is so important for good gut health. Because just like any ecosystem on Earth, diversity means strength. So the same applies to your gut microbiome. The higher diversity of different beneficial gut bacteria, the stronger and more beneficial your gut health is going to be for your overall well-being. So this means that having a wider range of different natural foods, your green leafy vegetables, your nuts and seeds, your different animal products, all of them, it's good to branch out and try and incorporate into your lifestyle more of different types of foods. It's very, very easy to fall into the habit of getting the same foods from your shops each week over and over again, because it becomes just habit, right? You go to the same sections, you get the same things, you know what you like. But if you start to incorporate in a higher variety of other foods that you don't normally get, each one of those is going to contain something different that could potentially be feeding different populations of gut bacteria that were maybe a little bit undernourished. And those populations of gut bacteria will turn those new nutrients into other things for your body that you need to be the healthiest, best version of yourself. So diversity in your diet equals diversity in your gut microbiome, and that equals strength in your gut health overall, which leads to better hunger cravings, so healthier hunger cravings, an improvement in your immune system, and then the overall functioning and well-being of your entire body, including mental health down to a hormonal or chemical level. So I hope this has emphasized the importance of gut health and a large part of what we are trying to achieve here with the Give It Up challenge.